All right. Good afternoon, Dr. McCray. My name is Angela Finley, and I'm a student of your Women's History Fall 2025 semester for this year at Clayton State University. So the vlog that I will be discussing today or turning in is based off the book Until I Am Free, and it is written by, well, the author is Keisha Blain. So just a little bit about her. She's an American historian, scholar, specialized in African American history, gender history, and Black women and intellectual history. The book was published in 2021. And so the subject of the book is the life and work of Fannie Lou Hamer. And so Fannie Lou Hamer, she was a Black female activist, civil rights activist. She was born and raised in Mississippi in 1971, and she later passed much later in 1977 in March 14th to be exact. So she pushed for civil rights. She was when she pushed for civil rights, it was during the time of the Jim Crow era, sharecropping systems, student civil rights. Let's see, it was the rise in groups. Let's see here. What do we have it? Oh yeah, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. So that's actually the group where she was in her 40s, where she even gained the knowledge about voting and finding out that she could even vote was being a part of this group. So her work, it resonates with contemporary issues like voter suppression, police violence, economic inequality. Let's see, what was the other one? Reproductive rights, and the position of Black women in society. I found Fannie Lou Hamer's story to be, it was, and I have so many notes. Reading the book, I have so many notes. It was within 10 to 15 minutes. It was just kind of, I was trying to figure out, what do I leave out? What do I keep? Because her story was just so interesting. I'm so surprised that I haven't heard anything about her prior to this assignment. But the overall storyline pretty much, I guess, about her life. Just born in Mississippi, being raised into a poor family, impoverished environment, dealing with poverty throughout her entire life. In her, I guess, like being raised by a sharecropping family as well, to her life as an adult, where she was a Black civil rights activist. So that's pretty much the storyline of the book. Let's see, her ideas about, so throughout the book is going to be her ideas about freedom, self-determination, voting rights, civil rights, economic justice, and Black women's leadership. Okay, so like I mentioned, she grew up in harsh conditions, poverty in the Jim Crow area. Let's see, she was I also mentioned that she was interested in voting when she was in her 40s, like later on in life. She co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, and that party, it challenged the all white Mississippi Democratic delegates. So she joined that group. Keisha Blain, she also shows Hamer's voice to be relevant to the modern day issues that we go through today. So what I found interesting about Fannie Lou Hamer, and just interesting that Keisha Blain even, made sure that she added it to her book, was it was on page 17. I want to get the quote right, where it says where she pretty much was saying that no one is free, whether you are a white, whether you're a Black. No one is free until I am free. And I never, prior to reading this book, that was my first time hearing a quote like that. And to me, it just felt very powerful. I never viewed slavery in that way. It just always felt separate, right? Or I never viewed like the way Black people were oppressed. Like I just never viewed it that way. I mean, because you have the white people, especially the wealthy white people that were living, their lives very separate from the experiences that Black or the enslaved, or even if they were free, just the different struggles that Black people went through during that time, it's easy to view it as like, oh, they're living their lives, the enslaved or the poor Black people are living their lives, and it's just separate. But after reading this book, her statement that she made on page 17, it makes sense. Like, there's no way this world could be free. There's no way that we could move forward as one. There's no way like one group isn't, or one person's situation isn't, essentially affecting another person's situation. So whether you are Black, whether you're white, no matter what state you grew up in, it doesn't matter how you were raised or your career. You're not free. If I'm not free, you're not free. And even though you may feel that way, you're not. Let's see another quote. Let's see. Her determination was also inspiring. I mean, to be poor, to be disabled, beaten by the police, harassed, life constantly being threatened. I mean, just all throughout the book, different things that was happening to her as a child, growing up in the time, the era that she grew up in, and just at no point, even if she felt like giving up, at no point did she. And it's just, I know a lot of people, especially women, we don't want to be like in this time, in this era that we live in now, don't want to be the strong black woman. But, her story is just, even though that was in the mid 1900s, it just still, reading her story gives me strength today in 2025. Not experiencing anything like what she experienced. So it's like, if she can endure what she endured, keep pushing, of course it can motivate anyone to continue to get up every day and to, face the different challenges that we face today, which probably isn't even comparable to what she went through. So let's see. Oh, something else that I thought was very interesting. Now, I've heard this before. Being from the South, born in Georgia, I've definitely heard this before. It was on page 2, where she talks about the pits being dug, and just pretty much saying that pits have been dug for us for ages. But people just don't know that when they dig the pits for us, they are also digging the pits for themselves. I've heard that saying from my grandparents, my mom, and just pretty much saying, don't allow your enemies to make you, stoop to their level. I'm pretty sure we've all heard of like, continuing to turn the other cheek. God will take care of those that, do us wrong, and just allowing, just her allowing, just being a Christian and allowing God to be her vindicator and to take care of her enemies. She did not allow any hatred or anything, not so much as the obstacles, but the hatred that she received. She did not let that deter her from her goals and the mission that she was on. So, I mean, that alone was very, 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 very interesting. And that was on page 2. If there was a downside to the book, it would have been Keisha Blain. Like, throughout the book, she mentioned the different organizations that she, I guess, what was a part of, and like her mission, her goals, and the many different things that she was trying to accomplish. But what about the internal issues in the organization? I mean, I'm pretty sure, she had her issues, not just with other white people or white people that were racist, but, maybe there were issues inside the organizations that, like the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee that she was a part of, internal issues within that organization that we, didn't get a chance to hear too much about. The continuity is definitely the black struggles, like voting, but it would be an exaggeration to say that it's similar to what she experienced, in the 1960s. I mean, now Black people know that we have the right to vote. She learned of her being able to vote when she was in her 40s. Now Black Americans, we at 18, when we are legally able to vote, most people, it's just a thing. I'm not sure. I don't think it will probably be anyone that can say they didn't know, similar to what she went through, that they didn't know that they had the right to vote. That's just something that is pushed in, it's talked about in middle school, it's pushed in high school, and some schools even prepare students to vote, maybe when they're seniors in high school, when they are 18. So even though there are Black people have experienced struggles at the poll, maybe some dishonesty when it comes to, voting, the ballots and things of that nature, wanting certain parties to win over another. Yes, we still do go through that today, but not to the degree of what Fannie Lou Hamer went through, during when she was in her 40s learning about her right to vote. Another continuity would be the Black lives not mattering, not being of value. That is still going on today in 2025. I mean, just think of Black Lives Matter. Why would a community of people have to even come up with that kind of hashtag, worldwide hashtag, if Black Lives Matter? I mean, why would it be separated? So the world and Black people had to, still in this day and time, had to have gotten to a place and a point where they felt Black lives, especially Black men lives, were just just not being valued, whether it was by just another citizen or mainly by police, white police officers. It's even to the point now where still this many years later, because there were a time when there were just so many unarmed Black men being gunned down by police officers. The body cam, is like mandatory that they have to wear that. A camera has to be video footage has to be present in order for anyone to believe that, okay, this Black man was really unarmed. I mean, that's just how much racism is still going on today, and how Black lives, just especially our Black men, just not being valued. And so that is definitely something that was going on a lot and more during Fannie Lou Hamer's time, but it is something that we still see today. So economic injustice, another example of continuity. So sharecropping isn't a thing, but we still see it, and it's economic injustice is an example of the sharecropping and what she experienced during her time. So Fannie Lou Hamer, like I mentioned in the beginning, I mean, her name, could easily during Black History Month or just throughout the year history classes, like Fannie Lou Hamer, after learning about, who she is as a person, as a woman, her life growing up, and, all the different things that she accomplished, and how she really played a major role in helping people, learn about voting, and among so many other things. I mean, when we learn about Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X, Fannie Lou Hamer's name is so worthy of being, listed with those names, worthy of being common. State sanctioned violence here in the 21st century. So we have Sandra Blain, pulled over by definitely a racist white cop for failing to signal. A routine traffic stop turned horrible within minutes. I mean, it was like screaming threats and dragging her out of the car onto the ground, calling for backup. Like, this woman was just like a threat to this police officer, and I think it was police Eusenia. So here on page 22, Keisha Blain was saying that in only a matter of minutes, Eusenia tried to force Blain from the car as he called for backup. And it was threats. He locked her up. And just within 3 days of her being in jail, she died. So the people in jail are calling it suicide. Her loved ones, her family, people who really know her, the world, people who didn't know her, protesters, supporters, just was not going for that excuse. Sandra Bland's death for sure seemed like it was another example of state-sanctioned violence, where she was just a victim of her life just not being valued, or like a racist white police officer had something to do with her death. It is very shocking to know that just within 3 days that she would have committed suicide. I'm pretty sure she had no way of knowing which, if she was going to be in prison for, she was only pulled over for failing to signal. So why would she kill herself? The circumstances that she went through is very similar to thousands of circumstances of Black Americans, not really even men, because Black women and girls have died by the hands of police officers at a higher percentage than white women and white girls. On page 23, Blain said that in 2019 Los Angeles Times article it was a group of researchers identified police violence as one of the leading causes of death in Black American men. So pretty much things are similar. We still do see some similarities in what Fannie Lou Hamer went through, fast forward to today, unfortunately. So Fannie Lou Hamer's health began to decline. This was more so towards the 1970s, like 1972 to be exact. So she was just on go. All of her energy, all of her strength, she put her health last, and her focus was, civil rights, and just fighting for inequality and justice. Like, that's what Fannie Lou Hamer was about, and the different things that she needed to take care of. She just put others before herself, to the degree of putting others, before her own health. So, she suffered from depression. She ran out, her and her family, her husband ran out of money, wasn't able to pay her medical debts. It was like a snowball, a domino effect of different things that just put her and her family into a unfortunate situation financially. She later passed away of heart failure in 1977. Like I mentioned, it was March 14th, 1977. She was at that time, and that's why I don't understand why she isn't mentioned today, because the President Jimmy Carter and other very important people during that time was at her funeral. So many different people spoke, but she was, to sum it up, she was recognized as being the best of us. Specifically, Marcia Gillespie, she described Hamer, her first impression with Fannie Lou Hamer, it was in 1971. And out of anyone that could have said anything about her, this one touched me the most, where she said when she met her in 1971, her encounter with Fannie Lou Hamer was transformative. To meet somebody, even as a grown person, as an adult, to meet someone, first conversation, first encounter, and just being around them and change you in so many different ways, and helps you to view your enemies in different ways, and have a different outlook, a more positive outlook on life, and just gives you that burst of energy and strength that you didn't know that you have. You don't get that from most people. So for her to, be able to give that kind of energy off, and to leave that lasting impression on so many people is very, very inspiring. To be transformative is a goal and something to aspire to be. This book, I enjoyed it. I truly enjoyed it. I would recommend it to anyone, especially anyone that's in history, or that's just interested in learning about other civil rights activists outside of the common names that we hear throughout the year or during Black History Month. Thank you, Dr. McCray, for assigning this book to us to read for a vlog. I enjoyed it. Thank you.